talk, all she do is talk, talk, talk. Rolling in a drop, I just want the top, top, top. Cleaning like a mop, she cleaning like a mop, mop, mop. What's good? So today we have the how to sound like NAV vocal effect video. Now what NAV basically does is rap with melodies, kind of like a lot of these new artists do nowadays, and he doesn't have complex or fast rhymes like Joyner Lucas or J. Cole. His raps are pretty mainstream, like, you know, about cars, girls, clothes, money. He has a higher pitched voice when he raps. He be out here rapping like this, not exactly like this, but you know, he has a higher pitched voice. Kind of like Young Thug, but not as high pitch as Young Thug. He doesn't stack too many vocals. He usually just has like one main vocal, and he might do like a couple ad-libs in the background, like, yeah, skirt, something like that, you know, NAV type stuff. He likes to use a lot of autotune on his vocals. It kind of sounds robotic at times. Some EQ, all tracks, most vocals have EQ, some compression, a little reverb, a little echo. It's nothing too crazy. It's a pretty basic mix, just with like a lot of autotune. Now, I went ahead and recorded my version of a NAV song, so I'm gonna go ahead and play that, give you guys an example, and then I'm gonna show you guys how I mixed it and give you that NAV vocal effect. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and yeah.
Sounds like music.
Atis, how do you do that?
All she do is talk, all she do is talk, talk, talk. Rolling in a drop, I just want the top, top, top. Cleaning like a mop, she cleaning like a mop, mop, mop. I don't wanna beat this up, bop, bop, bop. All she do is talk, all she do is talk, talk, talk. Rolling in a drop, I just want the top, top, top. Cleaning like a mop, she cleaning like a mop, mop, mop. I don't wanna beat this up, bop, bop, bop. Bop, bop, bop. Alright, so here's the vocals that you guys just heard, the NAV type vocals. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, there's not too much to the session. NAV doesn't usually have too much to his vocals. I have my main vocals, and then I have my background vocals. I just have some ad-libs, and these are just copied and pasted. I didn't do these myself. I just copied and pasted them, kind of like this. Now, if you listen, I'm gonna beat this up, bop, bop, bop. And I just copied this one, and I put it down here, and then I moved it. And the same thing over here, I just copied and pasted it. But this last little outro part right here, I did myself. I actually did record that. Alright, so the first thing I did, and the first thing I do in any session, was turn my beat down to about -4.5. Now, I usually turn it down between like -5 to -10. But in this case, if you look at the beat's already turned down. The producer turned it down himself. So shout out to the producer, because he left some room for the vocals. And that's the reason I turned the beat down. To leave room for the vocals, leave room for the effects, leave room for mastering. And yeah, so step number 1, turn your beat down. The second thing I did was EQ my vocals. Now, I cut the low end to about 170 hertz. And I brought the highs up a little bit. This will give me like a breathy vocal effect. And this will also get rid of the muddiness in my vocals and make the vocals fit nicely into the beat. Nothing too crazy, just cut the lows, brought the highs up. Now, I have 2 auto-tune plugins on here because NAV likes to use a lot of auto-tune. So in this case, we're using a lot of auto-tune. Now, the first one comes with Adobe. It's called Automatic Pitch Correction. Now, these settings won't work in every single song. Each song is different, and each song has a different scale and a different key, so you gotta find the scale and find the key. And if it's in the wrong scale or key, it will sound something like this. Rolling in a drop, I just want the top. And if it's in the right scale, it will sound something like this. All she do is talk, all she do is talk, talk, talk. Rolling in a drop, I just want the So just kind of play with the scales and try to find the right one. And if it's in the wrong one, I'm sure you will notice. Now, that's the scale and the key, and the scale and the key is going to be different for every single song. But the rest of the settings, I just cranked all the way to give me that like robotic T-Pain type auto-tune effect. Find your scale and your key and just crank the auto-tune all the way. Then we have another auto-tune plugin, and I pretty much did the exact same thing. Just cranked the retune speed all the way. Now, if I bring these up, it's going to make it sound like less auto-tuney, and we want like a lot of auto-tune. So keep these down and bring the retune speed all the way up and get that T-Pain NAV vocal effect. Then next we have a de-esser. Now this does what it says. It's a de-esser. It gets rid of those S's. De-esser. I'm using a male voice de-esser, and then I kind of moved everything over a little bit. Why does this do this? Every time. And I have it around like a 10, and I have it around like the, and it's around the 10K hertz area. If you go to your EQ and type in like 10K, I think I wrote 10, 100,000. And you bring 10K up. Top, cleaning like a mop, she cleaning like a mop. I don't wanna beat this up, bop. All she do is talk, So that's where the de-esser is attacking. Somewhere in that area. Then next we have a compressor. Now this is a UAD compressor. This does not come with Adobe. Universal Audio. These are my settings, and I'll leave links below to the compressor if you want to check it out. Now this came with my Apollo Twin. When I bought my Apollo Twin, it came with a couple plugins, and this was one of the plugins. So if you get an Apollo Twin, then you should get this. Then we have another compressor. This is also by UAD, Universal Audio. And yeah, this is my LA2A Legacy compressor, and these are the settings. I'll leave links below to this if you want to check it out as well. So we have an EQ, we have some auto-tune, a de-esser, and 2 compressors so far. And like I said, these are all things you can do in other programs. And for all the plugins I'm using, I'll leave links below. So next we have an Izotope Ozone 5 Exciter. Now this is like saturation for your vocals. It's kind of like distortion. If you bring the levels up all the way, it's going to sound distorted. But all I did here really is bring up the highs, and I brought the lows up a tiny bit. This will give you like a breathy type of effect. All she do is talk, rolling in a drop, I just want it. Now if I bring the levels up all the way. Top, cleaning like a mop, she cleaning like a mop. The more I start bringing all these levels up, the more it's going to sound distorted. So next, we have another compressor. Now this comes with Adobe. I'm using a classic soft knee compressor. I use this compressor for every single one of my songs. It's a great compressor. I love it. Then we have another compressor. We're just stacking these compressors. We have a multiband compressor. I'm not sure the settings or the preset I used because I know I changed it up. So if you guys want to check out the settings, feel free. This comes with Adobe as well, if I didn't mention that. Then we have some Izotope Ozone 5 Reverb. Now, I don't have a lot of reverb on these vocals. Nav doesn't have a lot of reverb on his vocals. He has a couple songs where he uses some reverb, like more reverb than usual. But for the most part, he doesn't have a lot of reverb on his vocals. Now I'm using the Room Reverb right here. You'll see all these reverbs on the side. I'm using the Room Reverb. Now the Room Reverb is probably like the most subtle reverb there is in all these reverbs. So yeah, not a lot of reverb on my vocals. And again, there's other reverb plugins you guys can use as well. I'll turn it off and turn it on and show you guys the difference. No reverb. All she do is talk, rolling in a drop, reverb. All she do is talk, rolling in a drop. So there's not too much reverb on the vocals. Next we have some Uad Precision Delay. Now this is like echo for your vocals. I'm not using a lot of it. It's very subtle. It's at 0.4% right here. Not a lot of echo, just a little bit to fill in the spaces. If you listen to people's main vocal when they're rapping, if you listen very closely, you'll hear a very subtle echo in the background. A lot of people do that. Alright, so that's pretty much all the effects that I have for these vocals here. For my main vocals, at least. And then my background vocals, all I did differently is the EQ. I cut the low end off a lot more, and this will give it like a radio effect. Black don't wanna beat this up. And then I added a little bit more reverb. I'm still using the Room Reverb, but I brought this up to 8.6. So there's a tiny bit more reverb. That's the only difference. And yeah, that's it. It's not a complex mix. It's not too like crazy. He has a good quality to his vocals. Not a lot of reverb, but a lot of autotune. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the vocal effect for NAV. Now the next thing I would do is export this and master it. So we're gonna go ahead and export this. So here is my NAV type song. All she do is talk, all she do is talk, talk, talk. So now we're gonna add more effects to this. We're gonna master it. Now this is why I told you to turn the beat down at the beginning of the session. Well, this is one of the reasons why. You wanna leave some room for your vocals, you wanna add some effects to your vocals, and you wanna master the song. So we're gonna master it now. I'm not gonna go too in depth with this because I have a mastering video which I'll leave down below. But what I usually do is go down. I like to use this mastering plugin by Izotope called Izotope Ozone 5. And what I like to use most of the time is this plugin called, can I move this? No, I changed it all. Alright, we're gonna redo it anyways. It's called Electro Dance and Rock Master Boost and Stereo. So now I would play around with these and make the song sound even better. You have an equalizer, you have your exciter like your distortion, your dynamics like your compression, your imaging, which is like the surround sound type of effect, and you have your maximizer, your limiter, which is gonna make everything loud and boomy and full and awesome. Before, I don't wanna beat this up, bop, bop, bop. After, all she do is talk, all she do is talk, talk. Now this is the stock preset that I clicked on. Now I wouldn't leave it in the preset. I'm actually gonna play with it a little bit. Now what I did for the actual mix for the song, I forget. But I'm gonna try to do exactly what I did for the song. I know it was something like this. I'm gonna go ahead and play this while I play with the settings. Cleaning like a mop, mop, mop. I don't wanna beat this up, bop, bop, bop. All she do is talk, all she do is talk, talk, talk. Rolling in a drop, I just wanna talk, top, top. Cleaning like a mop, she cleaning like a mop, mop, mop. I don't wanna beat this up, bop, bop, bop. Cleaning like a mop, mop, mop. I don't wanna beat this up, bop, bop, bop. Bop, top. Cleaning like a mop, she cleaning like a mop, mop, mop. I don't wanna beat this up, bop, bop, bop. All she do is talk. Now, as you guys can see, if you look at the bottom, this is what it looked like before, and this is what it is now. The wave's a lot bigger, and this is why you don't start your session at 0. Make sure you turn your beat down at the beginning of your session. Now, if you don't have the Izotope plugin, you can still use other effects like your EQ. I'm pretty sure every recording program has an EQ, so you can use your EQ. This is turned off, but if you wanted to, you could use this. Now, one thing I did use for this is the mastering preset that comes with Adobe. So if you have Adobe, you can use this. If you go to Special Mastering, you'll see it. You have your reverb, your exciter, your widener, your loudness maximizer, and an output gain. I'm using the tube setting for the exciter. This is like saturation for your vocals. I will show you. Well, not your vocals, your song, because this is the whole entire song. This is the master. All she do is talk, all she do is talk, talk, talk. Rolling in a drop, I just want to talk, top, top. Cleaning like a mop, she cleaning like a mop, mop, mop. I don't want to beat. Then the widener I actually have turned down because I didn't really want it wide. I wanted my vocals to be centered in the middle, up front, in your face. Like NAV doesn't have really some crazy wide pan surround sound vocal effects. There's some upfront basic mix, lots of auto-tune, in your face type vocals. So that's what I wanted to do. So I didn't make it that wide. I actually turned the widener down. And then I have a loudness maximizer to make it hit a little harder at 6%, not really that much. And then I have the output gain at 2 decibels. And yeah, she do is talk, talk, talk. Rolling in a drop, I just want to talk, talk. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The NAV vocal effect with a little mastering tutorial. I'll leave links to the program if you want to check it out, and I'll leave links to the plugins that I'm using down below. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope you know how to sound like NAV now, and I hope you got that NAV vocal effect. And hey, maybe you weren't trying to sound like NAV and you still took away some mixing tips from this video. And if you did, give it a thumbs up. And suggest something, maybe I might do it. Cause you know, AK suggested this video and I did this video, so maybe I'll do your video. I'll see you guys soon with another video. Peace. All she do is talk, all she do is talk, talk, talk. Rolling in a drop, I just want the top, top, top. Cleaning like a mop, she cleaning like a mop, mop, mop. I don't wanna beat this up, bop, bop, bop. All she do is